Welcome to another episode of the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing. This week, the Secretary of Finance and Enterprise Development and the Assistant Secretary of Community Development and Culture addressed the media.
We recently completed our capacity building workshop, of course, which was launched last May, where a number of Tobagonians at the community level, particularly those occupying leadership positions in the various community-based organizations, village councils, churches, youth and sporting organizations, were facilitated with training in a number of areas, including leadership, fundraising, communication, and proposal writing. Of course, we in the Division of Community Development and Culture, and by extension the Tobago House of Assembly, we recognize that we cannot do it alone. And of course, we need all hands on deck. There is a need for partnership, there is a need for collaboration between the public sector and even the voluntary sector, inclusive of all the various organizations within the communities. And hence, it is due to our understanding of that we continue to facilitate the training and the personal development of individuals within the respective communities. In another area of human development, the I Am Woman program was also facilitated in the month of April, where we facilitated approximately 80 women at a symposium at the library auditorium. Apart from that, 45 primary school students from Tobago East and also from the north of Tobago were facilitated in a segment of that program we refer to as Girls Talk. In this program, we attempted to look at the various issues facing women and girls in our society. And of course, we looked at solutions to those issues in an effort to really uplift and build the women here in Tobago. Another program that I'm excited about, which was recently launched on Facebook, is the Pride of Tobago project. This is not a new project, however, this year we have managed to expand the project to include every sector under the age of 31. The theme for this year will be Sweet Tobago, I Love It. And the program will be separated into various categories and various competitions. And of course, the first aspect I want to mention is the video clip competition. And of course, the idea behind the program is really to reinforce the branding of Tobago as clean, green, safe, and serene. We want to really encourage the people of Tobago, particularly the young people, to not only buy into this brand, but to support this brand, most of all with their actions, the manner in which we treat our environment, the manner in which we operate within our various communities. Apart from the video clip competition, we have a calypso writing competition aimed at instilling, civic pride through the creative arts. And this will be targeted more towards the primary school level. Apart from that, we have a preschool art competition aimed at fostering a better understanding and appreciation of the Tobago brand, even at the level of the toddlers within the preschools. And of course, at the level of the community, we have the Creative Community Project aimed at addressing a social or infrastructural challenge in the communities across Tobago. Of course, I don't have the details before me in terms of the prizes and the amounts of those prizes, but of course, I would suggest that they are very lucrative prizes in that we want to encourage as much participation as possible. And of course, the winning project in the last segment where we have the Creative Community Project, the winning project will be assisted with funding from the Division of Community Development and Culture to ensure that this project is implemented in the various communities. Apart from that, we have ongoing our Cool Kids Camp. Of course, this program is targeted towards the children. And presently, we have 135 children engaged in a number of activities where they undergo lectures from the protective services, from the healthcare agencies, etc. They are also facilitated with excursions such as hiking, and my understanding is that they will be engaged in pulling seine at the Black Rock leg of the Heritage Festival. Apart from that, they also engage in various other activities such as art and craft. And last but not least, our vocational skills training program, another major program within the Department of Community Development, has concluded, and I've been informed that some 652 participants would have taken part in this program. We facilitated 46 classes across 30 different communities here in Tobago in areas such as pre-C training, art and craft, cosmetics, and a number of other areas. People were trained in. Natural jewelry making was actually a new program that a lot of people were excited about. Bread cakes and pastries was another one of our programs that was actually oversubscribed. And I must add as well that this number of 652 participants was actually the largest we have seen since we first started this program.
I want to treat with first this afternoon with an issue that has been circulating in the media with respect to the releases to the Assembly for the fourth quarter, and also releases to treat with payments, outstanding payments of arrears to teachers and monthly paid officers. At this time, I wish to reiterate a press release that I sent out yesterday, that at this time, the Assembly is still awaiting fourth quarter releases, and fourth quarter releases to treat with recurrent expenditure and to treat with development program expenditure. In addition to the fourth quarter releases, the Tobago House of Assembly, we are still awaiting the receipt of funding of approximately $110 million to treat with outstanding payments of arrears to teachers and other monthly paid officers. So this still remains outstanding. This, I must say, is contrary to the Tobago House of Assembly Act 40 of 96, Section 47, and which states that the Assembly should receive its funding en bloc in advance for each quarter. Today is July 22nd, and to date we have still not received the issue. At our last meeting with the Minister of Finance, I indicated that we have to find another mechanism to treat with the timelines that occur from when the minister signs the warrant to the time when the Assembly receives, when we receive our payment. The process and what happens is that the approval is sent from the Ministry of Finance to the Ministry of Tobago Development, and then the Ministry of Tobago Development issues a check to the Tobago House of Assembly. And it has been held up there at the Ministry of Tobago Development, and we are awaiting word. We are still waiting when we will get the releases for the fourth quarter, and to treat with those outstanding payments to teachers. I want to reassure the teachers, and again, reiterating what was put out in the media release, that once we receive the funding, the Assembly will start issuing payments to teachers. I am informed that the checks are ready, and at the Division of Education, and as soon as we receive the funding, the payments will be issued to teachers. It is quite unfortunate that we have to wait so long. In terms of the payment to public officers, the auditing process is well underway, and I'm informed that 3 divisions remain outstanding in terms of the completion of the audit process, and once that audit process has been completed, the payment will be effected. And so we still await the funding. So once the funding for the fourth quarter is received, the payment for outstanding arrests, teachers and monthly paid officers will be effected. I also want to state today that the cost to the Assembly with respect to utilizing our overdraft facility to really bridge the timing in terms of when we receive the releases from central government, the cost to the Assembly, just to treat with the issues with respect to the shortfall in the third and fourth quarter, has amounted to over $650,000. And this just highlights the cost to the Assembly over a period of time in terms of the funding issue. I also wish to report at this time that the Division of Finance and Enterprise Development, that we have been making considerable strides in through the Business Development Unit, the Strategic Development section of the Business Development Unit. And the unit recently conducted several missions, one to the Caribbean Fashion Week in Jamaica, to the New York Fancy Food Show, and also to the Trade Investment, to TIC Trade Investment Convention 2015. And I'm pleased to announce that that those three recently concluded trade missions, that they have yielded significant results, and we will see business persons in Tobago exporting to several countries in the Caribbean, the Middle East and Latin America. Just to highlight, the division facilitated 7 designers, facilitated them in attending the Caribbean Fashion Week in Jamaica. We facilitated 5 agro-processors to attend the Summer Fancy Food Show in New York, and we facilitated 9 entrepreneurs to attend the Trade Investment Convention in Trinidad. The participants at the recently concluded Caribbean Fashion Week during the period June 6th to 15th, that delegation included a number of young designers and entrepreneurs, Mr. Kirsten Benjamin, Ms. Juliette Bernard, Mr. Ted Atta, Ms. Lydia Arnaud, Sherry Warner of CV Designs, Cassie Danielle of Yisa Designs, and Camille Khan from Camille Khan Designs. I'm also pleased to advise that the Business Development Unit, they are pursuing several leads emanating from Tobago's participation in this mission. The designers were also able to sell their many pieces and to showcase their respective collections. I'm also pleased to announce that one of our designers sold all their creations shortly after returning from the Caribbean Fashion Week. I'm also pleased to inform that a designer is in discussion with 3 stores interested in retailing their products both in Jamaica and Trinidad. We also have ongoing discussions to confirm the participation of at least 1 designer in a fashion expo in Trinidad later this year. I must state that relationships and networking possibilities were also explored and established to facilitate the distribution of some designs that were showcased at the Caribbean Fashion Weeks. With respect to this Summer Fancy Food Show that took place during the period June 26th to the 28th, the participants included Ms. Cheryl Ann Lee Yuen, Simply Delightful, Ms. Renisha George of Flavor Me Right, Ms. Antonia Joseph representing Springtime Foods, Ms. Giselle Johnny of Caribbean Exotique and Just Right Creations, and Ms. Darylyn Smart of Smart Foods Caribbean Limited. At this event, some A-class or high-priority leads were also made by our agro-processors. And as I highlighted the last time I was here, that we attempted to ensure that a number of our agro-processors are export-ready, and the division in facilitating their participation in the Summer Fancy Foods Show would have enabled them to achieve this. I'm also pleased to announce that the delegation attracted significant interest from one exporter to the United States and Canada, and we have several meetings, upcoming meetings with respect to assisting and facilitating this. Firms from as far as Dubai also showed some interest in what Tobago had to offer. I'm also having also advised that one of the largest Caribbean exporters also acknowledged the fact that Tobago's entrepreneurs and businesses are export ready, and some of the participants of the Tobago's delegation would have made significant impressions with respect to the quality of our presentation. I must say that I attended the Summer Fancy Food Show last year, and from the interest that we have seen for Tobago's products, I am heartened by the developments coming from this year's show, and I know that once we continue to invest and support agro-processing and entrepreneurship in Tobago, we will see the significant gains in the not too distant future. With respect to TIC, the division facilitated the 9 participants, as I mentioned before, and I'm pleased to also report that from all the producers, there was consensus that this year was our most successful year at the TIC convention. And we were able to engage and attract the interest of the largest retailers of souvenir items in Trinidad, and those also looking to expand regionally. And all participants would have, if not sold out, they would have sold in excess of 90% of their products at TIC. I'm also pleased to report that some designers are now being courted to participate in shows in the United States, while others have been afforded substantive requests for their items, which will take a few months to fulfill. Some of the producers were also able to identify distributors for their products in Trinidad and further afield in the Caribbean. And I must say that the leads, that what we have seen thus far, that they are noteworthy and they are results of a significant investment by the Assembly and the Division of Finance and the hard work of the strategic unit of the Business Development Unit. And I wish to again reiterate what I reported in my budget statement, that we continue to pursue opportunities whereby entrepreneurs and businesses on the island can really grow and develop. I also want to announce that last week, the Venture Capital Equity Tobago Venture Capital Equity Fund Limited formalized $2 million in funding for 2 local businesses. The funding created an opportunity for Andy's Cherry Nectar, again that brand that most of us in the around my age would be so familiar with, that famous Tobago's Andy Cherry Nectar. That will also be produced in Tobago once again at the Cove Eco Industrial and Business Park. The funding was also provided to the Quiet River Corporation, a woodworking company operating in one of the factory shells at the Cove Eco Industrial and Business Park. I'm also pleased to announce that before the end of this calendar year, I anticipate further disbursement of funds by the Venture Capital Equity Fund Limited to businesses in Tobago. I'm informed that in excess of 10 business proposals are currently before the investment committee, and before the end of this calendar year, we'll be hearing more information and more good news coming from the Tobago Equity, the Venture Capital Equity Fund Limited.
The disbursements from the Tobago Venture Capital Equity Fund. I know that this announcement was made before regarding Andes Cherry Nectar and the Quiet River Corporation. Is it that there's a new development? Have the funds just been released, or is there some sort of differentiation between this announcement and the previous announcement?
No, it's what we did actually was to finally sign all the legal papers and to disburse the funds. So yes, it was announced previously, but in terms of getting all the legal paperwork right, that took a bit of a time. But yes, so we're pleased to announce that the funds have been disbursed, and operations of Andes Cherry Nectar should commence shortly in Tobago.
Okay, have the two companies already been relocated to the Cove Eco Industrial Estate? So they're there already?
They have been assigned factory space. Quiet River has started operations. I paid a visit to Quiet River in the month of June, just before the budget statement, my budget statement. And yes, Quiet River has commenced operations, and these will start up soon. And what the funding will do is enable both businesses to acquire additional machinery and give them the necessary capital support really for their business to grow and thrive.
Okay. My other question is this. In terms of the outstanding monies that the THA has not received from the central government, it would be the third quarter, well, half of the third quarter, as well as the entire fourth quarter. Is there a total figure of what would be outstanding? Because I knew there would have been some from before, and you will still have not received this fourth quarter allocation. All
right. What we had in the third quarter was the issue of the outstanding $102 million balance. We are working to resolve that in terms of looking at the revenue for the third quarter, the actual revenue collected. So we are on our way to resolving that issue with the Ministry of Finance. And what is also outstanding is the total release for the fourth quarter in excess of $450 million, and also the $110 million to treat with the arrest of public officers.
Okay, so that would be the 450 plus the 110.
Yes.
Okay, you mentioned something as well about the cost of utilizing the overdraft fund. Could you just elaborate on that and the $650,000 and what that would have been used for?
No, well, interest is the cost of using money. So once we don't get the releases on time, and to ensure that the operations of the assembly continues unabated, and that we're able to ensure that we pay workers and we pay suppliers, what we have is an overdraft facility. And so once we are not in receipt of funding from the central government, that overdraft facility is triggered and kicks in. So we manage the affairs of Tobago, so nothing is, we manage to prevent any interruptions or any undue delay in terms of the payment to our dear employees and also to suppliers.
So in terms of ensuring that the Assembly's affairs are being managed, and 650
yes,
was used so far.
And the cost of using the overdraft facility, because of that shortfall in the third quarter, and because we have not received our releases for the fourth quarter, the cost of ensuring that we pay our employees and the cost of using the overdraft is $650,000 to date. And that just tells you how important it is in terms of getting the timing right. And a similar situation occurred in January 2013, and we're seeing something similar. So I don't want to draw any references or make any inferences with respect to what is happening, but I think it's important that we get the releases for funding in the fourth quarter.
It's on the same topic of the shortfall. You just now said that the matter of the $102 million is being resolved at the moment, right? I know that I think it was earlier, the last couple of months, the minister made a statement stating that the reason for the shortfall was because of the taxes that may or may not have been collected in Tobago. Could you just give us a little bit of explanation of what's been going on there and how this issue being resolved?
I may not be quoting the minister as per Hansard, but the minister also acknowledged that the Ministry of Finance could have been a little bit more responsive in terms of their response to the request from the Assembly. And the minister in a statement made one or two errors, because when we made the request for funding for the third quarter, the actual revenue collected in the preceding quarters, that was also factored into the request by the Tobago House of Assembly for funding for funding in the third quarter. So that was there was a bit of an error in the minister's statement. So once we submit a request for any quarter, for example, take for example the fourth quarter, we would factor in the revenue collected in the previous quarters in terms of factoring how much the Tobago House of Assembly should receive. And also we make a projection in terms of the revenue that we would collect within the corresponding period. So within the fourth quarter, we'll also factor in the revenues that we would have collected prior, and then look at our projections for the fourth quarter. So that was factored in.
As for the Ministry of Tobago Development, do you know that if the money has come to them as yet, or has there been any communication as to where the allocation is at this point in time?
The funds, we have paperwork from the Ministry of Finance that the funds indeed that they were released from the Ministry of Finance, and the paperwork was sent to the Ministry of Tobago Development. So we're waiting on word from the Ministry of Tobago Development. Hopefully, I'm informed that sometime this week we should get the checks, but the operations of the Assembly continue unaffected by this. However, we are unable to process the payments of our arrested teachers. And I just again want to reiterate and to correct a bit of misinformation and persons are in the media indicating that the Assembly received the monies for the arrest and we would have spent the money, and nothing of the case occurred. And we have not used the money for anything else. We have not received the money, and that is the fact. And similarly, with respect to the payment of CPEP and URP workers, again, we wish to reiterate that the allocation that we receive from the central government to pay CPEP and URP workers, those funds are released throughout the year. So if in fact that we were to wait on the central government for funding to pay those employees, I think all the ladies, young ladies and single mothers who are employed with CPEP and URP, they would have had to go home. And that is why we utilize funding from our contingencies account to treat with the shortfall.
Thank you for staying with us for the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing.